Qualifying about to get underway here at the Macau Guia Circuit for the Macau GT Cup, the FIA GT World Cup event. And what an entry it is. It is an absolutely outstanding lineup of cars and drivers and manufacturers that we have, including Laurens Vanthoor. Yesterday we had the 2 free practice sessions. That's determined the order on this pre-grid to release the cars. It's going to be a 30-minute session. It's running rather late here. We've had one of those days. Red flags aplenty. Quite a lot of them have been in the most recent touring car session. That's the man that won last year's race, the Swiss-Italian driver Raffaele Marciello, now a BMW driver, although he was winning it in a Mercedes last season. And another winner of the event in the past, Augusto Farfus with the BMW. What else for the factory driver? It's a mega entry. It includes Laurin Heinrich, who is new to the circuit, but driving for the Schumacher Koblenzer racing team. There's a man that's won many a time around here, Mauro Engel. And over his shoulder, if you like, in the other Mercedes, the Craft Bamboo Racing entry, it is Danny Juncadella. Well, very shortly, the cars are going to be released to the circuit. David Addison and Alan Hyde trackside. The cars, of course, all running for this 2 GT3 specification for the ultimate FIA GT event. Something like between 1,500 and 1,800 GT3 cars around the world these days, competing in myriad championships.
That's an amazing stat, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But here you've got the pick of the bunch. We really have. And yesterday it was Alessio Picariello that topped the times at the end of the second session, ahead of Laurens Vanthoor. Now, yesterday it was wet, it was less wet, it was never really dry all day. But now we've pretty much got an entirely dry circuit. Every time we think the sun has broken through, it goes away again. But the road is infinitely better than it has been all weekend. And so now we're going to get a proper chance to see what a GT3 car can do around the streets of Macau. The entry, as it pours onto the circuit, I'm glad to say, does have Sheldon van der Linden's BMW repaired after a big whack into the barriers at Mandarin yesterday. And it has also got Anthony Fong's repaired Audi. A lot of work has gone on for the Uno racing team this morning, and that is very good news for some, because this year, instead of Hello Kitty, Anthony Fong's Audi bears allegiance to Kuromi, who is an evil rabbit. I cross live to our Kuromi correspondent, Alan Hyde.
It's superb, you know. The people of the region have really embraced this livery. They embraced it last year when Hello Kitty was on the car, and so too this morning. We were walking in, there are 2 little stands that are selling merchandise. The queues went on as far as the eye could see. Adderley came out yesterday and took a photograph of the queue, and he couldn't quite believe just what the reception had been for the merchandise. They were sold out yesterday, T-shirts, cars, little model cars. Hello Kitty and the whole scene around Hello Kitty is so incredibly popular in this part of the world.
Yeah.
And for the unique type with a race car as well. I'll talk a little bit more about the character on the car this year in a few moments' time. But,
don't threaten me.
But it is wonderful to see. It's making people young and old very happy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Just for the avoidance of doubt, Alan is a grown man. He's allowed to walk amongst us like many. Don't judge him. So, the 30-minute session underway. Macau echoing to this fantastic symphony of all the different sounds that the cars make. Lamborghini there, Ferrari, Mercedes, AMG, BMW. Drivers, we've touched on 1 or 2, but there are plenty of star names in and amongst them. The majority are factory drivers. I think I'm right in saying that 70% of the entry are graded platinum under the FIA driver grading system. You can't be any better than platinum. So down they come now through Melco hairpin, and you can see what's happening. Why are they going so slowly? They want the car ahead to disappear up the road, and then on their first flying lap, they're not going to catch the car directly ahead. Over the line has gone Picariello, big gap. Over the line has gone Vanthoor, big gap. The slow bicycle race, as it were, comes through the Melco hairpin. But there is the Belgian driver, Alessio Picariello, then on a mission. The Porsches last year could not get hooked up to the Guia Circuit at all. They had a shocking time, and Porsche have come back this year with all the big names, eager to make amends. And there, going through Laurens Vanthoor with the Tsingtao beer-backed car, coming down towards Lisboa, hard on the brakes, dive right.
Into Lisboa, up towards San Francisco Hill. Yeah, the beasts can finally show what they're made of here at Macau. They can stretch their legs. This is the tight and twisty section where the beasts are tamed, and then when they get up towards the Melco hairpin, oh dear.
It's going to be a red, isn't it, for Laurin Heinrich?
Good news. Absolutely it is, yeah.
Track blocked, so Laurin Heinrich trying to get the car going, race control, seeing whether or not it's going to move. You can just about squeeze through. Let's see how he got there first of all. He's on his own, he brakes late, red flag, understeers, understeers, understeers. Oh, what a feeling, into the conveyor belting, and that turns the car around. Laurin Heinrich on his first flying lap of the session, triggers a red flag, stops the clock straight away. So Laurin Heinrich, that's him done from the session. He is a very successful sim racer, Carrera Cup Germany champion. Been racing and winning his class in the IMSA category this year in the States, but his Macau debut, in fact also the Conrad Edgar Racing Team Macau debut, Schumacher CLRT squad's debut, but that's going to put him right on the back foot, isn't it, at the back of the grid. So Laurin Heinrich, I'm afraid, suffers damage. More importantly, puts himself to the back of the grid.
Carrera Cup Germany champion as well,
yeah.
A couple of years ago. So a very, very good driver, but unfortunately, well, this is the first laps they've had around the Guia Circuit on a dry circuit, isn't it? And it's all gone wrong just a little bit too early for that car, and big disappointment. Red flag comes out. We've had a few of them today, haven't we?
It's been a long, long list of stoppages. So everybody will return to the pit lane and they'll go again. But Laurin Heinrich's car will have had enough damage to render that effectively order combat. And the team then has a little work to do overnight to get that car ready once again.
There's a bailout option at Lisboa. There is an escape road where you can, if you make the decision early enough, you're not going to make the corner, you can go down there, spin it round and get back onto the circuit. We had an absolutely textbook example of that yesterday by Maro Engel, who was able to go down the escape road, give it bag loads of right foot, turn it round and get it back on while everyone else was looking the other way.
Isn't that part of the difference, though, between an old pro that's been here before and somebody making their Macau circuit debut, aka Laurin Heinrich, who didn't opt to do that, tried to make the corner. But you're right, he could have gone left. It's easy to say because it's all got to be done in a split second.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a split second that you can make the decision.
So Heinrich then, the car's a runner at least, but coming back towards the pit lane, and the fact that it's moving is good news because there's not very much to tidy up, and therefore the session can get back underway on a short call.
It wasn't a mighty hit, was it?
No.
It was a fairly gentle hit. The problem was that the car was spat back out into the centre of the circuit. It needed to get going.
Still done quite a few €1,000 worth of damage, though. It might look cosmetic, but
not millions and millions and millions.
Not millions and millions and millions. No, you think positive. Yeah. So I think Laurin Heinrich will still have enough to go and buy one of your Kuromi T-shirts, should he care.
I can tell you more about Kuromi.
Go on.
Oh, do you want me to?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
absolutely. It's your reputation, not mine.
So, so what I didn't get involved in yesterday was Kuromi's family. So Kuromi is a little rabbit released into the into Hello Kitty and Friends on the 31st of October for Halloween. But I didn't tell you the names of Mum and Dad. Mother is Mama and father is Papa. So a lot of thought has gone into the names of the family. Siblings, Romina, her mysterious older sister.
Ooh.
And friends, My Melody, that's best friend. And Hello Kitty.
Right. And there is Adli Fong in the Audi of which we talk, with the Kuromi character emblazoned upon the side of it. Down the pit road he will come for the Uno Racing team.
It's good to see the car is back looking 100%.
Yeah, there was talk of needing to get a spare car, but I think when the team actually set to work, it wasn't quite as bad as first feared. And Kuromi, the evil rabbit, hadn't moved all the parts or anything like that, so they were easily able to get to work. There it is. It does look impressive.
It's great. It brings happiness to people, and what can possibly be wrong about that? Love it.
So the team doesn't have anything to do this time. It's not its car that was damaged. It was damaged yesterday when it charged the barrier quite spectacularly. Then number 51, the Ferrari from Harmony Racing of Daniel Serra, son of former Grand Prix racer Chico Serra. Other Ferraris in the entry for Yefe and also Antonio Fuoco. So pretty much, I think everybody is back in now. So we are about a minute away from getting the session back live. The last driver down the pit road is James Yu in the other Uno Racing Team Audi, sister car to that one. I was waiting for more Rabbit fans.
Well, no, sorry, I drifted off. I was thinking that I bought a T-shirt yesterday. Might wear it tomorrow.
Excellent.
Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like I say, we don't judge you. So, Adley Fong.
And the model car.
Oh, you bought that as well? Oh, right, okay.
Yep.
Adley Fong, the driver. We'll see how far up the order he can get Kuromi once the light goes green. There is the Audi in question. And there's the Rabbit on the side of the car. The other character being under the T of the tarmac works.
What, over here?
Yeah.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, more research needed, please. Yeah. Right, the Ferraris are good to go at the end of the pit lane. The yellow car being Matt Yefe and Antonio Fuoco. But Lamborghini's in the background. First time that Lamborghini has been here as a manufacturer for the FIA GT World Cup. And you've got, as the lights go green, Mr. Macau, Eduardo Mortara, and Matteo Cairoli as the two drivers.
Top of the times in the wet first session yesterday. But, when it got to more dry conditions later on, was a little bit further down the order. So you can't argue with the statistics of Eduardo Mortara here at Macau. Multiple wins in the Macau Grand Prix and in GTs as well. Very, very impressive is Edo around the streets of Macau.
BMW's there going down towards Lisboa. We got a bit concerned about the BMs yesterday because they just did not seem to be delivering, but they'll be competitive, I'm sure, today. 3-litre turbocharged engines in the M4s, some run by local teams, but the Van der Linde and Vanthor cars by Team WRT, Vincent Voss's crack Belgian squad. And thinking Vanthor, you've got on both Dries and his elder brother Laurens. Dries Vanthor, BMW factory driver, Laurens Vanthor sitting in the pit lane at the moment, who's now factory Porsche driver.
And we thought for the first time here at Macau, both of them here on the same weekend, didn't we?
Yeah. Don't think they've been toe-to-toe around here before. Elsewhere they have, and it's come to blows even at the Nürburgring. But first time here. So I'm not intrigued as to why Laurens Vanthor hasn't gone out, unless it's purely to try and let all the traffic go by as much as possible. But the car is looking like it's ready. That is Raffaele Marciello going through. Dries Vanthor there in number 32 from WRT's stable.
There's a couple still down in pit lane, is there not?
Well, Vanthor's on the move, and the other one is Laurin Heinrich's car that's the repair work undertaken already. Conor Ledegaard supervising it all, I can see out of the window. So that's hopefully going to be a relatively simple process. Down to the Melco hairpin they come. It was here yesterday in the damp early in the day that just a hint too much right foot caused cars to loop around and cause trap blockages, so they are very happy that the road is now dry.
So if it's any kind of indication as to what lap times we're going to get when they do their first flying laps, it's Dries Vanthor is on this outlap, going very quickly in sectors 3 and 4 on this outlap from pit lane. So one of the keys with these qualifying sessions is to, because you never know what's going to happen at Macau, put a lap in nice and early, get it done nice and quickly.
So the BMW's boom past. Raffaele Marciello goes through. There is Dries Vanthor, Sheldon van der Linde in the background. And Vanthor then charges through Mandarin, up towards the barrier on the outside, moves back across to get the line down towards Lisboa as they head towards the braking zone now. Then he darts to the other side of the circuit, ready to get the clipping point for the corner, almost up against the barrier on the outside, goes sharp right. The car dancing between the barriers either side of him, van der Linde behind, and now Vanthor makes this climb up towards San Francisco Hill. And Alessio Picariello already looking rapid in sectors in his Porsche, as he was yesterday. Picariello, who has made a name for himself racing really in China and the Far East rather than in Europe, but is a competitive pilot, absolutely right.
Sheldon van der Linde ended up with a damaged car yesterday, and that was free practice. It was very different conditions. Has just put in an overall best in Sector 2, although that's quickly taken away by Daniel Serra. But looking for good performance today from Sheldon van der Linde.
Out of police comes Van Thor up towards Moorish now, and as he goes through, very, very, very close to the barriers on the outside. Dries Van Thor leaving nothing on the table. He's done an absolute best in Sector 3, but as he's the first person in it, it's no real surprise that others go quicker. And Daniel Serra looking like a weapon. Augusto Farfus and Mauro Engel likewise looking good in different sectors around the lap. And Laurens Van Thor has gone out almost a lap behind everybody else, so the traffic should not be an issue for him, that's for certain. Dries Van Thor, his younger brother here, fighting the BMW coming down through Black Sands.
So Dries Van Thor, let's see what this lap time is going to be. It's going to be the target time, isn't it? As we are about to complete the lap, 21.5 minutes of the session will remain. And Dries Van Thor has really been pushing on for the moment. The car's left pit lane up towards the completion of the lap. Number 32 BMW for Dries Van Thor. Such a remarkable finish on that car in the gold and black. We've got a yellow flag at turn 15. Dries Van Thor goes top of the times, 2:18.131 for Dries Van Thor.
Raffaele Marciello goes second, Sheldon van der Linde third, Ralph Aaron fourth, and turn 15 is clear again as the Ferraris come over the line. That's the reason for it. That is Jules Gounon, I think, who's been in the wall. It is. Yep. Jules Gounon's done big, big damage for the Craft Bamboo Racing team. It's a Mercedes AMG entry, Craft Bamboo looking after it. That's the car that Danny Juncadella drove last year, and Jules Gounon limping back to the pit lane as Mauro Engel goes second fastest now, 2:18.333. You can see the damage done. Jules Gounon's car is going to really struggle to go back out again in this session, I would have thought. It is Van Thor, D, Engel, Marciello, van der Linde, Juncadella, Serra, the top six. And
the left front wheel has no rubber, and therefore you see the sparks as the wheel is not moving around at all. It's going to be a long, long journey back to pit lane. And unfortunately for Jules, it didn't go right last year here at Macau, and it's not going right in 2024.
Jules likes a car in a very specific sweet spot. When it's there, he's absolutely unstoppable, and it's finding it around here where track time is so limited. And clearly, he's had a drama. We've not seen the drama, whether it was down to him or he got a helping hand. We'll try and unravel. Bouncing over the bumps in the road. Laurens Van Thor here on a big, big push in number 25 Porsche, coming towards the end of the lap. So he wants to be faster than everybody, but more than anything, maybe he wants to be quicker than his brother, doesn't he? So it's Dries Van Thor quickest now, 2:18.131, and Laurens Van Thor goes through, and that lap was a gentle one, if you like, to start that lap. Only 15th. He was slower in sectors 4 and 5, and there is the answer to the Jules Gounon question.
It is, yeah. The car went straight on, hit the barrier, left-hand side at the front, and there's nothing you can do. How disappointing that must be. He's a great, great driver. Augusto Farfus, meanwhile, is doing what Augusto Farfus does at Macau. He is so supreme in Sector 1. He puts purple sectors in Sector 1 again and again. This time, the former World Cup winner here at Macau has gone purple in Sectors 1 and 2. Keep an eye on this lap for Augusto.
Sheldon van der Linde now fastest, so it's a good day for BMWs. They seem to be struggling in the damp yesterday, but in the dry, van der Linde 2:17.878 ahead of Dries Van Thor. There is Danny Juncadella in the Craft Bamboo Mercedes AMG entry coming up to the line. He has got Matteo Cairoli ahead of him as they go through absolutely nose and tail, and the Mercedes look to try to jink up the inside. Juncadella goes fourth now, Cairoli is 11th. And Edo Mortara's Lamborghini is 7th quickest. Farfus has done, as Alan was saying, 2 absolutes, now personal best as well. And what about Marciello's BMW? That's 5th quickest, so they're certainly looking a lot more competitive today, aren't they?
Laurens Van Thor goes overall best in Sector 3, and Picariello goes overall best in Sector 4.
And Christopher Haase goes up to third in the venerable Audi. Christopher knows how to get the best out of an Audi R8 more than anybody else, and he's third quickest. This is Augusto Farfus. Where is this first proper push lap going to put him? A 16th right now. Fastest by the end of it, 2 minutes 16.814, over a second quicker than anybody else. Augusto Farfus back to the top.
Very impressive that, and Augusto Farfus is mighty here at Macau. When the car feels good, he is just exceptional. Brilliant that, 2:16.814. Just realised this is the first time we've got to see truly what the cars are capable of.
Have a look at Laurens Vanthoor here, because he's done 3 personals and an absolute best, and he's heading then up towards the timing beam, and he goes second fastest, 2:17.523. But it's Farfus ahead. Vanthoor second, Sheldon van der Linde third, Dries Vanthoor fourth, Christopher Haase fifth, Mauro Engel sixth, and you can see also Antonio Fuoco doing absolute bests. So is this man, Dries Vanthoor. Let's get him out of the last corner and put him up to the timing line and see whether this is going to be the front row of the grid provisionally for Dries Vanthoor. The WRT run BMW breaks the beam and goes on to pole position. Dries Vanthoor does a 2:16.797. He's quickest by 17 thousandths of a second.
It's a much better day for BMWs, is it not? Top 3 places occupied by them, and Dries Vanthoor, Augusto Farfus and Sheldon van der Linde, the top 3. 2:16.797 is the target time now, set by Dries Vanthoor. And I was saying, Fuoco goes second now. So the 83 car, a 2:16.813. Farfus, therefore, down in third place. This is a back-off lap for Augusto. Normally goes very, very quickly in the first part of the lap, but not improving on personal best times in the first 3 sectors for Augusto Farfus. Mauro Engel goes top, 2:16.764. So a change. This is going to be a spicy session, isn't it?
Is it ever? And the other one to watch, Ricardo Feller, who was last year's GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup winner. He's been a DTM champion too, and Ricardo Feller in another of the Audis is on a big, big charge. Fuoco third, Farfus fourth, Laurens Vanthoor an improver. Ralph Aron is up to 13th. And Mauro Engel fastest by 33 thousandths of a second. This is Alessio Picariello, quickest in free practice yesterday afternoon. He's 15th at the moment. Now he's got 2 personals and 1 absolute, but 1 slower sector to his name. And as Picariello goes across the timing line, he's up to 8th fastest now.
Yeah, so everybody improving, and Picariello goes 8th. Mauro Engel is top of the times, and he's doing personal bests in the first couple of sectors as well. He's an expert. He's a former winner here at Macau, is Mauro Engel, and he's got on a quick lap once again. 2:16.7 is his own target time. Dries Vanthoor has got overall best in the BMW in Sector 2 and a personal best in Sector 4 as well. Coming up towards the line, Dries Vanthoor is currently second. Is he going to be able to go a little bit better? So close.
I reckon there's going to be a little bit of concrete on the side of the mirror there. That was about as near to the wall as you can get. Dries Vanthoor leaving nothing on the table, comes up to the timing line, second at the start of the lap, pole by the end of it, a 2:16.562. Fantastic.
So BMW is quickest, 2:16.5. No, it's not Raffaele Marciello. He had an absolutely unblemished record last year here at Macau. Quickest in qualifying, 1 race 1, 1 race 2, and now top of the times, a 2:16.5, and that is the first time we've seen Raffaele Marciello top the times this weekend.
And right now, your leading 6 are all covered by just under a second, so tight to the margins. So a fantastic first part of the session, and now the session sort of has a breather because so many people are coming into the pit lane for a new set of Pirelli slicks. But out onto the circuit has just gone Laurin Heinrich. So the damage has been put right. The car might be ever so slightly tweaked, but he's still going to be able to go and wring a lap out of it. He does not want to be at the back of the grid, and he hasn't got a lap time yet, and nor is Jules Gounon, whose travails I think are going to be rather more serious.
So the order, 13 minutes just over of this session remain. It's been breathless and wonderful so far. Raffaele Marciello, number 1, has the best lap, 2:16.5 for Raffaele Marciello. Dries Vanthoor is second, Mauro Engel is third, and Fuoco is fourth.
Saw some more debris on the road, but I think that's a legacy of Jules Gounon's incident from earlier on. And Adley Fong, incidentally, is 17th in the Kuromi liveried Audi. I'm waiting for yet another rabbit fact.
Yeah, Baku is the little character alongside, and is known to be Kuromi's henchman.
I was so proud when I got this job. There is Dries Van Voor then, coming up to the end of the lap, and to see whether actually not only is he going to go for an improved time, but actually stays out, because the majority of drivers heading for the pit lane now. Let's see what he does. Comes towards pit in, and Dries Van Voor, even though he'd done 3 personal bests on that lap, has the call from WRT, box, 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 new set of boots required. And a very quick turnaround for some, because they've gone back out onto the track. You can see there Daniel Serra in the Ferrari 296, the 6-cylinder 2.9 metre engine car, hence the type number, going up San Francisco Hill. Picariello back out again, Marcello into the pit lane. So everybody cycling through. Leo Yee's Porsche, I can see, still sitting in the pit road, and Dries Van Voor will also be a bit sort of late into the cycle once he's got the new set of slicks on. There's no debate, of course, for the first time this weekend about what people are running. It's slicks. It's just a case of when you use your second set. The teams have 5 sets for the weekend, but this really the first time they'll have used them. Yesterday was all about wets. Right, what have we got left? Just over 11 minutes. And Augusto Farfus has come into the pit lane. Now, bear in mind, he was on pole a while ago. He's down to 5th, so he needs to dig deep once he goes back out.
And when Augusto won here at Macau in the FIA GT World Cup, and they didn't know at the time just how significant that win was going to be. Yeah. It was Charlie Lamb's, the greatly missed Charlie Lamb from the Schnitzer Motorsport outfit. It was his last Macau Grand Prix, and obviously we weren't to know that at the time, but they were so delighted. Charlie was so happy for Augusto, and Charlie, one of the nicest men in motorsport that you could possibly hope to meet. He was just a wonderful character.
Yeah, I agree.
And Augusto winning here at Macau meant an awful lot to Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie's team won Le Mans, won Spa 24, you name it, it won it. Championships or special races. And it's a real shame, isn't it, over recent years that so many of those factory BMW teams of a few years ago have disappeared, closed down, or been lost to the sport completely. Okay, new wave takes over, but quite a few, like Bart Mampay's team, as well as Schnitzer and others, have all gone. Right, we have got pretty much everybody heading back to the circuit. James Yu has come into the pit lane in his Audi for a new set of tyres, and there is Laurens Van Voor back out again. Now, he's 7th fastest. Despite all the effort and all the commitment and all the speed that he's evinced, it's not quite worked, has it? Yet.
So far. I was about to say so far. We've got 9.5 minutes yet to go. We shall wait and see what happens. But the great thing about this, with the patched up, he is out of pit lane and on a lap. What was that little bit of debris we saw on the tarmac just on the left-hand side of the... Was that the one that you were referring to from Jules's car?
It wasn't, but I think it has come from it. I can't think of anybody else that's been shedding bits, and we saw him at that part of the racetrack with things still coming off the car. So here, down the hill, comes Laurin Heinrich on his first push lap of the session that's hopefully going to result in something. It might not look pretty, but it's going. And anything is better than being at the rear of the grid as he comes through now. So down towards our bend comes Laurin Heinrich, the tank tape special, and 23rd in the times, effectively goes through 17th he becomes. So Laurin Heinrich makes a pretty big step up the order.
8.5 minutes yet to play in this qualifying session for the Macau GT Cup, FIA GT World Cup. Raffaele Marciero, winner from last year, top of the times, a 2:16.509, and if we look at this as a qualifying session in 2 halves, they've completed the half-time stop and are back out on the circuit. And the great news about this qualifying session, once we're able to deal with that early problem in the session when it was stopped, they have been able to get into a groove, go through the plan that they would plan if everything went according to the pre-qualifying team plans. Then they are able to actually put a few laps together and get heat into the tyres, put them through the full heat cycle and get meaningful laps out of this. Raffaele Marciello into the pit lane on the last lap, Dries van Toor the same, but Maro Engel is out of pit lane, so too Augusto Farfus, Sheldon van der Linde, so too Christopher Haase, yet to feature significantly in this session.
Yeah, he was up to third a little while ago, but has been elbowed back down. And if we were right to be worried about BMW yesterday, I think we're right to be worried about Porsche today, because they're not looking all that flash, are they? Van Toor is 7th, Picariello is 8th, and then you've got Heinrich 17th. So there's more to come out of those cars. It looked as though they were back at the races after yesterday, but I'm not quite so sure now, because try as he might, Van Toor L just can't quite find that last, what does he need? Second, really, and a second's quite a lot.
Let's wait and see. We've got 7 minutes just under of the session remaining. It's Marciello that tops the times. Dries van Toor is second in the BMW. Maro Engel, and he's in 3rd place, and Pirocco in 4th. Farfus out of pit lane, but this is the outlap from pit lane, so building up the speed now, getting ready for a flying lap for the Brazilian. He's been with BMW for so many years and competed in so many different forms of motorsport for BMW, and is a very popular driver, very popular character within the BMW fold.
Laurens Vanthoor, absolute best sector 4. So here is the Porsche coming out of Fisherman's down towards Isle Bend, and Laurens Vanthoor with the road to himself. Let's see whether the Tsingtao beer car is able to get itself up the order. It has to, it needs to, it's getting a bit desperate this with 6 minutes to go. So Laurens Vanthoor up towards the timing line, and he will go through now, and as he does so, he stays 7th. The lap time is better, 2:17.243, but not enough to haul him up the order.
Antonio Fiocco goes overall best in Sector 3. Augusto Farfus goes overall best in Sector 2. Let's hope that we can run all the way to the checkered flag, because this has all the signs of being absolutely spectacular. Yellow flag at turn 18. There's a yellow flag at turn 18. Yet to see what it is. And we also have yet to feature Eduardo Mortara. He has just put in the overall best in Sector 4 in the Lamborghini.
And he's coming up towards the timing line. No, he's not. Yes, he is. He's pitting. So Mortara, no, he's not pitting, but it was a very odd approach that. The car seemed to slow and go. Green flag out on the circuit, but Mortara goes through. Now, that last sector was 2 seconds down, and it felt to me as though he backed off and then speeded up again. Now, maybe the team was saying there's a yellow flag, and he was ready to abort the lap thinking there might have been a red coming, or...
Well, there was briefly the yellow flag on the circuit, which then went green.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And this was the reason for it. If you look down towards police, and into view comes Ralph Aaron, and runs out of width of the road, doesn't he? But it was a slow last sector for Mortara. He definitely lifted. You heard the engine note, and then he got back on the power again.
How efficient the marshals are with their yellow flags, aren't they, here at Macau? It's just immediate, absolutely immediate. We've got another yellow flag at turn 16. So another problem out on circuit. That's exactly where we just saw that notification, and very quickly it turned.
And a big lose, and that's Luca Enschler in the Lamborghini by the look of it, who has destroyed the car coming out of Mandarin. That'll be a red flag, and the session is stopped with debris, wheels everywhere, and with just under 4 minutes to go, red flags fly, and a big accident coming out of Mandarin. And in fact there, Dries van Toor stops, doesn't even go through the wreckage. So the red flags come out, and the car's tiptoeing their way through the incident zone. That's the end of the session. It won't be resumed, and as I say, it looks to me as though it's the Luca Enschler Lamborghini that has gone off at very high speed coming out of Mandarin, And we've seen over the years that there aren't small incidents there because you sort of pinball between the Armco. So the session is red flagged, and the cars try and get through the debris without picking up anything to damage the tyres. But the session stopped, and everybody now goes for the pit lane. So Raffaele Marciello is the man on provisional pole position. It's a BMW lockout at the front, and there Eduardo Mortara frustrated because the last lap he lifted, and then that lap is going to be interrupted by a red flag. So Edo Mortara is going to end up 11th on the grid. And there's frustration for some. Yeah, you can see huge disappointment for Mortara. Why didn't I do? Why did we choose to do? Why did you tell me? ... But you can see how he understands the importance around here of a good grid position. And it's all gone horribly unravelled for Eduardo Mortara. The Vincenzo Sospiri team operating the two Lamborghinis this weekend. But a very emotional, very, very disappointed Mortara. Meanwhile, it's a very happy Lello. Raffaele Marciello did it last year for Mercedes AMG, comes back with BMW and carries on where he left off. So the most un-Italian-like of Italians, very languid in his personality, and nothing ever seems to fluster Raffaele. Steps out of the car. We've seen him in IGTC this year. We've seen him in British GT at the start of the year. Of course, for BMW and the WEC, and driving for the Toro Racing team. Raffaele Marciello poses for the photographers, and a very happy man he is.
The coolest of characters,
isn't
he?
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and whatever machinery he's in, he goes incredibly well here at Macau. It feels like just a few years ago he was competing in the Macau Grand Prix in single-seaters, and now he has really made his mark on the GT world scene.
There was an interview he did last year on his way to was it last year or 2 years ago, on his way to winning GT World Challenge Sprint, and within the course of the interview the question came up about the number of wins he'd had in the championship that year, to which Raffaele said, I don't know. Genuinely had no idea, just gets in, drives flat out. I think he remembers things like Spa and Macau, but championship race wins, it was just, oh, yeah, I don't know.
I've no idea.
Great character.
He really is. Yeah.
Put him in a race car, boy, can he deliver.
That was super. That was a super session, notwithstanding what happened at the end of the session, but the way that lap after lap they were able to nibble away and the positions change. Very, very impressive session, that. Indeed
so. Benjamin Franasovici from SRO, the organising body behind the entry for the FIA GT World Cup there in the white shirt, just with Raffaele. And SRO, of course, Stefan Rattel's company, the architects of GT3 racing, which has been such an enormous success. And a huge amount of work goes into getting the right grid for this race. And that's in addition to all the other championships that SRO runs nationally, internationally, regionally, you name it. And it's quite a production. So the session not to be resumed. 4 minutes were on the clock, and it was the Luca Engschler Audi that had that accident that has stopped qualifying in its track, sad to say. So everybody now heads not to the pit lane but to the paddock. Raffaele Marciello ends the session as the fastest then, from Dries van Thor, Mauro Engel third, Antonio Fuoco fourth ahead of Augusto Farfus and Sheldon van der Linde, with Lawrence van Thor seventh, then Alessio Picariello, Ricardo Fellers Audi ahead of the sister car of Christopher Hauser. 11th quickest, Edo Mortara's Lamborghini, a rather miffed Mortara, ahead of the Ferrari of Yefe. Then it's Danny Junqueira, a bit further back than you might have expected, ahead of Thomas Preining, then Ralph Ahren. Daniel Serra was only 16th, and Laurin Heinrich got out to do a lap to be 17th, ahead of Matteo Cairoli. Adley Fong and his coterie of animals, 19th quickest, ahead of Luca Engschler, then James Yu, Leo Yi, and Jules Gounon not getting a lap time in because of the damage to the Mercedes. And tomorrow we'll have them racing for the qualifying race for the 2024 FIA GT World Cup. So the GT race tomorrow, 10 minutes to 2 local time. And Raffaele Marciello will start on pole position. And on the evidence of today, he's going to take some stopping. So one more car session to go today, which is for the FR World Cup, the Macau Grand Prix. And then hopefully, if the road is dry enough, the motorbikes for the first time this weekend will be on circuit to round out the day. But the single-seaters for the FR World Cup will be next. And a replay of Luca Engela's big slide, and around it went, bang, hard into the barrier on one side, bang into the barrier on the other. There it is from another angle, huge hit. And that deflects the car across the road, bodywork, wheels shed across the racetrack. And not only did the car have to be removed with debris all around, across the circuit, no argument, red flag, end of session. So we'll see whether that car can be repaired for tomorrow. If not, maybe for Sunday, and get itself to the grid. But yeah, brilliant stuff while they were running. Seeing these cars around this circuit, at times you think they're too big for Macau, but then you watch them go round the first part of the lap through Reservoir, Mandarin, down towards Lisboa, and they just look right. And go back 2 years, we had that superb toe-to-toe battle on the opening lap between Mauro Engel and Raffaele Marciello. It was really something to savour.